Director Westerman.
I'm here.
Director Leary.
Present.
Director Corcoran. Director DeMarquis.
Present.
And Director Zarofsky.
I'm here.
We have a quorum of the board. I note that the chair is absent, so the first order of business is appointment of a chair pro tem. It's my understanding that Director DeMarquis is willing to serve as chair pro tem for the meeting. May I get a motion to appoint Director DeMarquis as pro tem chair?
So moved.
All right.
Thank you, Vita, for doing it.
I'm like, that came very quickly.
Yeah, that one I support wholeheartedly.
We share the any discussion, or shall we take a vote? All in favor? Aye. Okay, that sounded very unanimous. Director DeMarquis, it's your meeting.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for the overwhelming support. Well, good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Environmental Facilities Corporation meeting of the Board of Directors, October 13th. Our first order of business is to approve the draft minutes from the August 31st, 2022 board meeting. Can I have a motion to accept the minutes?
I'll make the motion.
Thank you. And a second? Anyone?
Oh,
I wasn't there, so I don't think I can, right, Kate?
Yeah.
Right.
I was absent also.
Oh, yes, I think for our motions we're all right, but for the actual vote, the abstentions are going to be, Mr. Svanko isn't here. Director Leary and Director Zarofsky were not here.
Right.
So I will second this motion. All in favor? Any discussion on the minutes? Any additions, comments? Okay, hearing none. All in favor of the minutes passing as they stand? Aye. Aye. Okay, there is no one else left to vote. So our next item of business is report of the chair. As our chair is not here today, there is no report, but I do just want to hope that everyone has a healthy fall season as we move into it. And I'm just going to take the opportunity to thank all of the EFC team on all the work that you do, and especially the work that goes into our annual information statement. Moving on to the President's report. Madam President.
Good morning. So I just wanted to mention our IUPs for 2023 will be published, and the 2022 amendment for the bipartisan infrastructure law funds will be published next Wednesday on the 13th and 19th. What did I say? Oh, 13th.
Today's the 13th.
Head cold. On the 19th, and the AIS is coming and will be, and we'll talk about that in ID number 1. I asked Brian to give an update this morning on the pool.
Great, thank you. As far as processing goes, we're moving right down the line. We're going to post a POS in 2 weeks. We should hear from the rating services by next Friday. We have been in contact with them. They're working through the processes, having some, normal questions. I think the biggest thing that we wanted to let everybody know is obviously everybody knows that the markets right now, I think the word is volatility. This past week, we've had some good market moves. They're basically ending today with the CPI coming in higher than they expected. We do expect rates to go up today. That's the early read. We will hope for the week that we are going to price is a Fed market rate. On Wednesday, we'll price on Monday and Tuesday. So we're hoping for lower volume that day. And we hope for a good retail turnout to anchor the deal and move on from institutional pricing from there. So that's, any questions?
The only question would be, what, if any, contingency planning might you be doing in case something unexpected happens between now and then, given the volatility in the markets? In terms of timing or pricing or whatever, is there flexibility, and what would it look like?
We do have some flexibility. We probably have flexibility of about a week and a half.
Right.
You know,
Hard to
as
tell.
everybody knows, these pools are very hard to turn.
Yeah.
You know, once we go down that line, we do have certain maturities that have to be met for the individual borrowers. So, but we do have a little bit of flexibility in there. You know, speaking to the financial team prior to this, we thought that getting out before the Fed would be the best rate. You know, I think that it's probably everybody's after today's CPI. The guess is that we see 3/4 of a point both in November and December.
Yeah.
That's a survey. That's a guess. You know what I mean? If I knew what exactly they were going to be doing, I probably wouldn't be doing this.
Probably would be a different job. And we'd all be calling you on the side, right?
Well, no.
Okay, no, thanks.
For the WIA and IMG grants, the application date, due date was September 9th. We received well over 400 applications, so we're busy reviewing those, and that's taken a lot of time. We're working on that. Just wanted to remind everybody that we're going to Rome on November 3rd. I think everybody has gotten back to Kate on whether or not you can go, but you know, we'll meet here for a board meeting, whoever can make it, and get some lunch here and then head out. And we'll, as I mentioned, last board meeting, see a wastewater treatment plant and some GIGP projects. So it should be a good day and a long day, but hopefully worth it. Yeah. And this is my 1-year anniversary as president. I'm really excited. I just wanted to thank everybody. This has been an awesome year. I want to thank the board for the confidence in me, and thank everyone at EFC because it's been a great year. We've been all very, very busy, and at DOH as well, implementing the infrastructure law, and getting these IUPs out next week will be fantastic. And it took everyone here at EFC to get that done. So thank you. I love it here, and so happy to be here. So thanks.
It was also
It's
Madam
flew by.
President's birthday a few weeks ago, which we may have slipped into your media report. And just mentioned.
Well, that is what a quick year. It seems like you've been with us for so much longer than that, and your service as president has really helped the organization. And happy anniversary and many more.
Thanks, Vita. It did. This year flew by.
It really did.
I can't believe it's a year.
I know.
It's crazy.
So many accomplishments.
I think so. Everybody's so great here. Okay. That's it.
Well, thank you. Thank you. Next on our agenda are committee reports. We have had no committee meetings for this agenda, which is great. I mean, we've had so many recently, so there's no report there. Any unfinished business, Madam President, any unfinished business?
I'm aware of.
Hearing none, we'll continue on. Okay, we're going to move into our agenda items. Madam Secretary, would you please read the resolution to ID 1 regarding the draft annual information statement, please?
Certainly, a resolution of the New York State Environmental Facilities Corporation authorizing and approving the annual information statement of the corporation.
Thank you. Could I have a motion for ID 1, please?
So moved.
So moved.
Second.
Thanks.
Great. Let's move into presentation and discussion. And Henrik Weston, you will be giving us a presentation.
Yes, thank you. Board members, we have before you for consideration
a draft annual information statement. This is prepared pursuant to SEC Rule 15C212, which is promulgated pursuant to Section 15C2 of the 1934 Act. What this rule requires is certain kinds of disclosures to bondholders for their benefit. Among them is a direct regulation imposed on underwriters so that before they can actually underwrite municipal bonds, they have a reasonable basis to believe that the issuer or the financial obligor has entered into what's referred to colloquially in the business as a continuing disclosure agreement. And so that entails, certain material events we got to let the market know. This specifically, though, is required under a provision where the financial obligor has to provide information periodically regarding financial and operations of the issuer. And this is to sort of combat asymmetric information out in the market. EFC clearly knows more about its operations than bondholders. And so to level the playing field, we put information out there so that they actually know what they're buying and they can make good decisions as to whether to buy or sell a security, specifically our securities, because they're the best. The information in this draft, entails, biographic information regarding our indentures, certain statistical information. And there have been no substantive changes over the past year, but I did want to note one thing. We did remove references to what were called environmental infrastructure revenue bonds. And there's a reason for that. One is we haven't issued EIRs since 2003. None are outstanding. And the way DOB and the state now issues debt is they've gotten away from individual service bond, contract bond debt, and they've moved towards a more consolidated approach with respect to personal income tax bonds, sales tax bonds, and general obligation bonds. GO bonds are backed by the full faith and credit of the state and technically don't need an appropriation pursuant to Article 7 of the Constitution. PIT bonds and sales tax bonds, however, are backed by a contract that's approved by the controller under Section 112 of the state finance law and are subject to appropriation. So those are the three credits that the state is now relying on. They've moved away from the service contract bonds. We haven't issued any since 2003. None are outstanding, and we don't foresee the state, again, using multiple avenues pursuant to which to finance, critical infrastructure. They're going to keep with the PIT, sales tax, and GO models. So that's my presentation. Again, no substantive changes other than removing EIRs. It is not a material change. It's just something that is a legacy item that we don't really need to avail ourselves with, and there are no bondholders outstanding that are impacted by those provisions. So in order to create a more elegant document, we decided, let's just get rid of this section. So thank you. Do you have any questions?
So on page 53, you didn't just get rid of the section, but you've left the information on there from a historical standpoint, taken out all the details. So if someone is using this document, they get the historical perspective on that.
That's right, Vita.
Yeah, and that also, I imagine, provides you flexibility if for some reason the analysis changes in the future. It's not like you have to, you don't want to create the impression you're not using it and have to re-disclose. So I think I assume that was part of the plan.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, dropping breadcrumbs in the forest.
Yeah, just recognizing it was a part and has been a part, but is not an active part of the overall program.
That's right.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, Henrik. Honestly, I find that very informative. Your explanation is always educational. I always find this document educational, even after many, many years of going through it every year. I still really am drawn to and look at over and over again the various flowcharts because they're very educational and it really helps us understand the flow. So Those graphics have been really important, and it's a great document to keep handy.
Okay, and then once it is finalized, we will have to file it with the MSRB's
Yeah.
Electronic Municipal Market Access website. Once we do that, we're going to share the finished product. There's a beautiful photo floating around that's going to adorn the cover. So we hope you enjoy it this year as well.
Absolutely. I always keep it handy in my folder, just because you never know. Sometimes you need to how things work, and it's a great reference to go to. So thanks for all the work on that.
Pleasure.
Thank you.
Is there any further discussion on our annual information statement, the draft statement, ID 1? Hearing no further discussion, I'm sorry, Francis, did you have something?
I was saying no further comment.
Okay. Sorry, I'm having just a tiny bit of delay. Hearing none, I will call for a vote. All those in favor of ID 1?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Anyone not in favor? Any abstentions? Hearing none, ID 1 carries. All righty, moving to ID number 2. Madam Secretary, would you read ID number 2 regarding the drinking water financing authorization, please? Amendment.
A resolution of the New York State Environmental Facilities Corporation amending the prior authorization for financial assistance to be provided by the corporation to certain recipients in connection with the Drinking Water State Revolving Fund.
Thank you. Can I have a motion for ID number 2?
I'll motion for ID number 2.
And a second?
Second.
A second.
Great. Okay, let's move into presentation and discussion. And Brian McAvoy, you're on.
Great, thank you very much. For this ID number, we do have 2 financings that we're seeking authorization for. The first is for the town of Crown Point. That's in Essex County. The project is for the replacement of existing distribution mains, which have reached the end of their useful life, upgrading 2 current water sources with new pumps, site piping, control building upgrades, and a replacement of water meter systems. We're seeking authorization for the extension of the maturity date from December 17, 2022 to December 17, 2023. The additional time is needed because the town had difficulty identifying sufficient new groundwater source options. They spent multiple years conducting studies, but eventually did find 2 viable sources. A complicated bidding process and equipment procurement delays also contributed to the need for additional time. The second project is for the town of Hume in Allegheny County. This project is for the extension of the town's water system to serve and consolidate with the Hume Sanford Springs water system, whose groundwater well source has been designated groundwater under the influence of surface water and is in violation of the surface water treatment rule. This project originally closed in September of 2021. It matures in September 2026. And we're seeking a funding increase of $523,200 in short-term interest-free financing. The additional funds are needed to replace some cast iron pipe with PVC water main. This will result in the removal of all cast iron from the distribution system. Contract bid pricing increases also contributed to the increase. Thank you. Are there any questions?
You know, I don't have specific questions about these 2, but it does bring up a question more broadly I've been thinking about the last few meetings, which is as the world gets a little, more volatile, to use the word we talked about earlier, I'd love at some point to get a better understanding. It doesn't have to be on this call, but at some point of the process by which you guys sort of quality check or audit or whatever you want to call it, these claims that when it comes in for extensions or increases, right? We certainly want to, I don't have particular concerns or any concerns about these particular proposals, and certainly will vote for them. But it does, make me wonder, do we have a thinking about that? Are they likely to be increasing quality or quantity? And is there some measures by which we should making sure that they're, being rigorous in their reporting to you guys as to what the causes are and what's going on in these situations? Because you could see someone saying, let's just get an extension and hopefully the world will get better, when the world's they might be experiencing stress that's not unrelated to the project and then could put in jeopardy the ability to pay things back. But
Well,
again, not specific to
anytime-
these particular.
And just in general for these, anytime somebody's requesting some sort of amendment to the current loan agreement, we do have a formal process where they have to fill out this form that asks specific questions. And it has to be reviewed by also the consulting engineer. And if they do have a financial advisor, that
Right.
form is sent to the EFC team. Particularly, we're seeking input from our engineers or the DOH engineers to review to make sure that what they're requesting does make sense and fits within the scope of the project.
We're all,
Yeah, no, I get it. I'm just wondering if there's a cause, and it's not a conversation we have to have now. I'm not suggesting, diving deep in. I'm just throwing it out for your consideration of there's likely to be increased stress on municipalities and projects as, wages go up, inflation's going up, the pressures we've been talking about more broadly. And, I just want to make sure that you guys are, and I'm sure you are, being rigorous and thoughtful to make sure that, on the margins, people are being legit when they come to these things. Because my anticipation is we may see more of this as we go forward.
yes, we are doing more formal outreach
Right.
earlier in the process to make sure, folks are moving along. And if they're not, why not? And also looking at, although it's very difficult, looking at really how we can push them up front too, to make sure that their costs are more in line with what they might be, obviously with crystal ball, but there are some things that you need to account for.
And you guys are not auditors, I get it, but it's also, we, want to make sure we're right.
Yeah, it's been interesting over the past less than handful of years, how much more frequently we have seen extensions and cost increases. And it's directly, I've learned as we've questioned and you've explained some of your due diligence, on really out of our control worldly matters and costs have come up. But yeah, I'm sure that you're watching the projects and you can almost anticipate which ones will come to this point.
Yeah, and I guess my point, Peter, right, is just make sure as that's going to maybe increase thinking about, it's hard for us to tell as a board and also, from the outside as to which ones of these are, just normal course and which ones are maybe headed towards potential trouble down the line. And so obviously we have to rely on you guys and your diligence there. I just want to make sure that is obviously front and center, given the pressures outside.
Indeed.
Right, we are hoping going forward that we'll be able to help projects figure out the timeline and a better cost estimate. The ones we're seeing now, years out there, right? 4 or 5 years out there, and didn't necessarily know about all these cost increases and COVID and everything. So hopefully going forward, keep our fingers crossed at what we're doing and some of the steps we're taking.
Get more baked in. Yeah.
And I thought, didn't we discuss, Brian, did you mention before that you were looking at an increase on the contingency percentage too, when projects come in, or am I misremembering?
No, we are definitely implementing that or have implemented that and put it into our guidance where we're looking for or recommending at least 30% contingency.
That's right.
Right.
Project, which is significantly higher than what we used to suggest.
That's exactly right. Good. Any further discussion on ID number 2? All right, hearing none, let's call for a vote. All those in favor? Aye.
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 Any nays? Any abstentions? Hearing none, motion number ID 2 carries. All right, number 3, moving on. Madam Secretary, would you please read resolution ID number 3 related to direct financing and drinking water WIA, please?
A resolution of the New York State Environmental Facilities Corporation making certain determinations and authorizing certain actions in connection with the Drinking Water State Revolving Fund and authorizing financial assistance payments to certain municipalities to fund eligible drinking water projects from funds appropriated for water infrastructure improvement projects.
Thank you. Can I have a motion for ID number 3?
So moved. Second.
Thank you. Now for presentation and discussion, and David Phillips, you're up for this one.
Okay, thank you. So we have 3 drinking water projects before us today. The first one is the town of Hounsfield in Jefferson County, seeking a WIA grant and a short-term market rate financing. The project includes interconnections, 5 interconnections between the town's existing 6 water districts to provide redundancy and resiliency to the entire town system. It also includes replacement of approximately 21,000 linear feet of a transmission main on New York State Route 3. That transmission main is the only connection between the town system and its storage tank. It's very old and has experienced several breaks and has required several costly emergency repairs. The third part of that project is rehabilitation of an existing elevated storage tank, which includes recoating both the interior and exterior, structural repairs, and inlet-outlet improvements, which will help reduce disinfection byproduct formation. The next project is in the town of North Collins in Erie County. This is a long-term interest-free financing. This project included creation of the Lawton's Water District, which will serve customers that were previously served by a private water company. That water company had used a spring source as their source, which was determined to be groundwater under the influence of surface water, and as such had a surface water treatment rule violation. They also had nitrate exceedances with that source. So the project will include the town taking over that private system, forming a water district, and then having a new connection to the Erie County Water Authority through the Seneca Nation of Indians as their source, which will bring the system into compliance with the surface water treatment rule. And the third project is the town of Ticonderoga in Essex County. This is also a long-term interest-free financing. This project will replace or has replaced previous surface water source that was using an older inadequate treatment system. It also will replace a previously uncovered finished water reservoir with a brand new covered storage reservoir. The previous surface source will be replaced with new groundwater wells. So the surface water treatment rule violations will be addressed. The project also includes some minor distribution system upgrades. Any questions on those?
Any further discussion for the 3 projects under ID3? Okay, those are good ones. Hearing no further discussion or questions, let's call for a vote. All in favor? Aye. Anyone, any nays? Any abstentions? Hearing none. ID number 3 passes. All right. Moving on to ID number 4. Madam Secretary, would you read ID number 4 for the clean water amendments, please?
Certainly, and I did just want to note for those in attendance that Director Corcoran had to leave, but we still have a quorum.
Okay.
ID number 4, a resolution of the New York State Environmental Facilities Corporation amending the prior authorizations for financial assistance to be provided by the corporation to certain recipients in connection with the Clean Water State Revolving Fund.
Thank you. Presenter Brian, you're back up for presentation.
Can we just get a motion and a second before that?
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's all right.
I was so engrossed in reading it, I just went past my protocol. Thank you, Madam Secretary. Could I have a call for a motion for ID number 4?
So moved.
And a second.
All right.
Okay, thank you. And now for presentation by Brian.
Thank you. Again, there are 2 financings related to this ID number that we're seeking authorization for. The first is the village of Coxsackie in Greene County. This is for the planning, design, and construction of wastewater conveyances and treatment upgrades. We're seeking authorization to extend the maturity date from December 22nd, 2022 to December 22nd, 2023. The additional time is needed to complete negotiations with the Department of Corrections and Community Supervision and for OSC to complete their review and approval prior to converting it to long-term. The second is for the city of Kingston. This is in Ulster County. It's for the planning, design, and construction of improvements to the city's wastewater treatment plant. We're seeking authorization for an extension of the maturity date from December 21st, 2022 to December 21st, 2023. The additional time is needed because there were delays related to materials shortages and product availability, particularly a critical blower and aeration equipment. We expect to have that equipment by February of 2023. That's it. Any questions?
Thank you. Thank you. Is there any further discussion? Any questions? Okay, hearing none, let's put it to vote. All those in favor, ID number 4, aye. I didn't hear anything, but I'm assuming, Madam Secretary, we're all good there.
Yes,
Aye.
you have a unanimous approval.
Okay, I can't really see because you're a little tiny. Alrighty, any abstentions, any nays? Hearing none, motion number 4 carries. Thank you. Moving on to ID number 5. Madam Secretary, would you please read the resolution for ID number 5?
A resolution of the New York State Environmental Facilities Corporation making certain determinations and authorizing certain actions in connection with the Clean Water State Revolving Fund and authorizing financial assistance payments to certain municipalities to fund eligible clean water projects from funds appropriated for water infrastructure improvement projects.
Thank you. I will make the motion for ID number 5. Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, let's move on to our discussion. Mr. Brazell, you're presenting.
All right, good afternoon. Today we have 3 clean water projects before the board for new financings. First is the Village of Mohawk in Herkimer County. A long-term hardship financing and a Clean Water State Revolving Fund additional subsidization of about $1.5 million. The project closed a short-term financing and then was awarded a additional subsidization, which is why the add sub is being added at long-term. So we're seeking that $1.5 million and just over $4.5 million in short-term interest-free hardship financing. The Village of Mohawk is just wrapping up a village-wide collection system rehabilitation project. The work consisted of about 5,900 linear feet of open-cut gravity sewer repairs, nearly 29,000 linear feet of sewer lining, sanitary sewer lining, 2,360 linear feet of lining of storm sewers, and additional storm sanitary and storm manhole rehabilitations. This project will also benefit an identified environmental justice area and protect water quality in the Mohawk River. All right, next we have town of North Hempstead in Nassau County. This is also a long-term interest-free financing. This project was initially funded through the Storm Mitigation Loan Program following Hurricane Sandy. The requested board authorization is for $4,127,000 in long-term interest-free financing. Within the town of North Hempstead, the Belgrave Water Pollution Control District operates a 2 million gallon per day wastewater treatment plant that discharges to Little Neck Bay on the North Shore of Long Island. The outfall from this treatment plant was deteriorating and sustained additional damage during Hurricane Sandy. The project replaced the outfall and also built a new effluent pump station that can be used during storm events if the the water elevation is such that they need to pump the effluent out of the treatment plant. And construction is expected to be complete this month with that project. And then finally, we have the Village of Portville in Cattaraugus County. This is a $4.5 million short-term interest-free financing and just over $2.4 million in WIA grant for the Village of Portville. This project will address high inflow and infiltration that the village sees in their collection system. They are planning to replace approximately 7,000 linear feet of sewers by open cut methods and line 24,000 linear feet of existing sewers. They're also looking to rehabilitate 122 manholes. There's also some additional work at the wastewater treatment plant through this project, new influent pump station, recirculating pump station, and an effluent pump station. They're also replacing the UV disinfection system and adding a new, or replacing the emergency generator. Finally, there's going to be some upgrades to the control and monitoring systems at the treatment plant. Construction is expected to start next spring and will be complete in the spring of 2024. Are there any questions on these projects?
Well, that's a lot of work. That's a great project. I can't wait till we get the stats on how many manholes per year we replace and all the linear feet I want to know about. But because we had some good linear feet in some of these projects.
Yeah, I know you like those numbers. We're tracking it.
I know you are. I know. Is there any further discussion on the projects contained in ID number 5? Okay, hearing no further discussion, we'll call for a vote. All those in favor, aye. Good. Any nays? Any abstentions? Hearing none, we pass the projects in ID number 5. Awesome. Okay, on to our last resolution for the day. Madam Secretary, would you read the resolution for ID number 6 regarding the contract for provisions of the Rubrik software platform?
Certainly. Resolution of the New York State Environmental Facilities Corporation authorizing the president of the corporation or the president's designee to enter into a contract with SHI International Corporation to provide the Rubrik software platform.
Thank you. Could I have a motion for this resolution, please? Thank you. And a second? Got it. All right, moving into presentation and discussion. And I believe Mike and Maureen, you're up for this one.
Hi, everybody. We're kind of excited about this. So I've invited Mike Fisher, our Senior Manager of Information Technology, to give you a brief overview of what Rubrik's going to do for us. But just to speak about the procurement briefly, we issued a request for quotes on September 19th using the OGS IT distributor umbrella contract. We sent the RFQ to all of the firms listed on that contract. We received one response from SHI International. We did have to disqualify a firm for a late proposal. So SHI is the selected vendor. Board approval is required because the term exceeds 1 year, and the total cost over 3 years will not exceed $143,000. And Mike, if you want to talk about what we're doing here.
Sure, absolutely. Thank you, Maureen, and good afternoon. This board resolution to purchase the Rubrik platform is the result of a project that started back in June. The project was a reevaluation of our backup and recovery strategy. Specifically, we took a hard look at our ability to recover should we ever be hit with a ransomware attack. We conducted a search for a new solution that would enhance EFC's ability to protect and quickly recover should we ever be affected by a ransomware event. IT staff researched several solutions viewed a number of demos and set up several proof of concepts over the last 4 months. And I have to thank our system staff for doing all this work. As a result of our research, we feel that Rubrik is the best solution for EFC. Now, Rubrik is a leader in the backup and recovery solution market, but Rubrik really markets itself as a data management and data security company. And it's those data security features that really are compelling to us. So I just want to highlight a few of the reasons why we prefer Rubrik. First is data observability. Rubrik has the ability to analyze backup data for unusual behavior and changes caused by a potential ransomware attack. So it can actually pinpoint files that may be suspected of being infected with malware. So let's say that were to occur. Now we go on to data recovery. Rubrik has the ability to pinpoint clean, uninfected snapshots to use for the recovery process, and thus preventing the reintroduction of the malware into our system. Threat containment. Rubrik has the ability to quarantine an entire backup or individual files if necessary. Now, this is important, again, to prevent the reintroduction of malware into our system during the recovery process, but also it could provide forensic evidence given the severity of the event, if an internal or external cybersecurity investigation would be needed. A big reason why we like Rubrik is its architecture. Rubrik sits outside of our current virtual environment. This is important. A number of the solutions we looked at sit inside our virtual environment. Therefore, if we were ever be locked out from a ransomware attack, the very solution that we would need to recover would have been affected by the ransomware. Rubrik sits outside of our virtual environment. It's isolated. It has its own hardware, its own OS, operating system, and security protection. Therefore, that in itself, the architecture is an important security layer for us. We feel this is compelling. And then finally, as part of the procurement, we have selected the Rubrik Elite Edition. Because Rubrik is a data security company, they have a dedicated team that will be available to us 24/7 should we ever be affected by a ransomware event. We would have a team available to assist us in the recovery effort, and that is another important factor. Now, Rubrik is an excellent backup and recovery solution, but when you factor in the architecture, the data security features, and the dedicated support, we feel that Rubrik is the best choice for EFC as we move on to improve our cybersecurity defenses. And do you have any questions?
That's great. So with their data observability to see things, are they running a constant algorithm looking for any hits? I mean, is it constantly searching your data? How do they do it, by batch days or?
Rubrik runs scans, and it actually has a very nice dashboard that provides an itemized numeric of number of files or perhaps backups that are potentially infected by malware. And then it allows the IT technician to drill down further into through the dashboard to do further investigation to see what further action needs to be taken.
Michael, did it require that EFC, did we have to open up APIs and connect to an API hub, or do they API right into our system?
This is not a cloud solution. No, this will be actual hardware that will be hosted at EFC, and we've built redundancy into this. I also want to mention, this is a dual setup, so we will have redundancy with this hardware, but it will be hosted at EFC.
Okay. Oh, I see.
Huh. Yeah, no, this is great. Thank you for getting in front of these issues.
And I appreciate it. We're very excited about this, and I want to thank Adnan Mirza. He's relatively new to EFC, and he did all of the work and the proof of concepts and worked with the vendors to really dig into the products. And I actually got to thank Mike Roisman as well. Many of you have known Mike for years. He really was the inspiration for this. kind of letting us know on things that kept him up at night regarding our recovery efforts with ransomware. So he was kind of the kickoff, and Adnan and Mike really, they did the hard work on this, and I appreciate it.
That's interesting. Is there a lot of training that needs to be done on this, or it just operates and nobody knows it's like really has to pay attention to the fact that it's doing all this?
There'll certainly be training, and we've also baked into this procurement professional services for the installation and configuration.
I think it's really important that you spent all that time on the proof of concept and looking at the demos and really thinking those through. That's probably really key to your success, to our success.
It really was.
A lot of work goes into this, and this is super important. I don't see Waleed still on the call, but Madam President, from our enterprise risk management perspective, this is a great addition to the risk management implementation column.
Yes, it is.
I know Waleed is happy about this progress.
I am very happy about it as well, because it is something that is just at the forefront of everyone's, any business's success now.
Yeah.
So, there she is. Yes.
Yes, I'm here. Hi.
I was just saying you were probably very pleased with getting this system online.
Yes, absolutely. And yes, working with the IT unit, and the IT unit did a great job. This is definitely something that I'm very happy about, and I think is really important for EFC. So very happy about this.
Awesome. Awesome. Good. I knew you would be. I'm not sure if Francis is talking to us or if he has a comment on this.
I don't think so. It looks like he's getting responses from it's
It looks like a conversation and not both ways. So
I will confirm afterwards via email just if there was anything we missed or needed to make sure.
I don't have any more questions, but I am very happy on this progress. It has been something I've thought about a lot, and I knew what everyone was doing. So congratulations on this. Is there any discussion?
I would like to echo that and just thank everyone for thinking so proactively and pursuing a solution for cybersecurity and resiliency. More to come in the future, and to continue that proactive thinking.
More to come.
Yeah, it's perfect. It's a great, I'm glad you put this ID last. It's a great high note. All the IDs are all of the things we approved today are very important, but this is great internal business movement on that. Any further discussion? Okay, hearing none. All those in favor? Aye. Any nays? Any abstentions? Hearing none, the motion carries, and you can carry on. Very exciting. It's great. That includes today's agenda of all of our resolution items. Great agenda. Good work, everyone. Next is any new business. Madam President, any new business? Any business from the floor?
I'm aware of.
All right. Hearing none, I will make the last motion. I will make a motion to adjourn today's meeting.
Second.
All those in favor? Thank you very much. I hope to see you next month.
See you all in Rome.
Yes.
Thank you. The meeting is adjourned.